Hey YouTube, Stretchline Bait and Tackle, aka the old man in a kayak, coming back to you with another lake. And when I do lakes, I break down a smaller portion because I fish from a kayak, and so my uh, when I go over a lake, the size of the lake is limited because I'm trying to cover what you would be able to theoretically fish in a kayak in one day. Now, a motorized kayak, you could probably go out a little further, but I have a pedal power, and so I'm out there, and I can cover a lot of territory. I can cover 10 or 15 miles in a day fishing, and I do that quite often. But anyway, today I am at Bodark Lake, and this is in Texas. This is a new lake, and I recently, matter of fact, just yesterday, I had a tournament here, and I want to show you what I found on the lake and how I did. And so, first of all, let me pull this up here. All right, here we go. Now, this is the area where these yellow markers are. This is the area that I covered pretty much. So let me bring you on in here. And this is the north ramp here. The dam is right here. And this is actually north. That way there is pointing north. So actually due north this way. I'm sorry, it's orientated north south. They call this the north ramp here, and this is the ramp that I launched at right here. Now is this was all full. This was all water when I fished. The lake is up. This is a new lake, so this Google Photos doesn't always have it where it has all the uh, water level here. And let me see if I can bring it up a little bit. Yeah, the last photograph shows that this is down, but the lake is 94% full right now. And there's a ramp here and a ramp here, and this is flooded right here. And I did fish this rock area here. It was it was actually 6 or 7 feet deep right here, so it wasn't too shabby. But anyway, this is a good place to launch. And coming out here, when you come out of the boat ramp here, you've got this is a shallow flooded area here with a lot of timber and not large timber. It's more like mesquite and cedar, and there's some vegetation. And this you have a creek intersection here. There's this creek that comes this way, and there's a second creek that comes this way. So here's the intersection. Right about here is the creek intersection, and I can go back on the timeline and probably bring it up here. Let me get this to you here. All right, see, there you go, right there. There's the creek intersection. You can see here, this is what's nice about Google Earth, able to go back and see this stuff. So this was before the lake was filled, and this lake they started building, I think, in 2021, and they opened it last year in 2024. And I got to fish it this year in 2025, and it wasn't bad at all. And matter of fact, I caught my largest fish right here. Here's the intersection. It was just a little bit further. It was right about this bend right here is where I caught my biggest fish of the day with a 19-inch bass. And I only caught two. I was a little slow that day, but uh, mainly I'm just tired and old. But okay. So anyway, so if you do Google Earth, and you can go back on this timeline, and sometimes you go back to a time of a drought and you can see areas to fish. And you can see here's the lake, and it's not even close to being filled yet, right? Now, if you'll notice this area right here, these two spots here I got marked as big flat. I'll show you why in a minute here. So, all right, let me zoom back in here, and I'm gonna put the timeline up to where we're actually got some water in the lake, where this is because the lake's 95% full now. Uh, there we go. That's a pretty. It's a little fuller than this right now. All this white area right here, this is all water here. So, all right, so you have this creek intersection right here with these creeks come through here, and this is a really good place. And when I was here, this was uh, right around this area was about 17 feet of water in the deepest spot, and it starts tapering up to 12, and then back off this way, and you get closer up in the cove here, it's 6 and 7 feet, and then it goes up to 2 and 3 foot up on the edges there. So this was a really good productive area. Now, I also fished these. I followed this creek bed out, and you could find there's a little bit of just trees, tops of trees poking out, and so this was a good little productive area here. And then I worked the bank line as all, and I started out. I came out, and I came this way, and I was sitting right here waiting for first cast. And the reason I sat there is there were fish jumping everywhere, and I thought it was bass chasing shad. And I sat there for about 8 minutes, and they were still popping all around me. And I'm thinking like, oh, this might be a good start. Well, unfortunately, those were carp. So once it got light enough to see, I had to boogie on down. So anyway, I moved back over and I started working this shoreline here. And this is kind of nice here because it's like 12 foot deep right along the edge here. And then you go back up here to where it's like 1 or 2 in this area here, and all the water was up to here now. So you got a lot of structure, a lot of timber, a lot of flooded water. And anyway, I worked my way along here, and I worked up in this cove here. And matter of fact, up in this cove was all flooded, and I worked the topwater through all this, and I just couldn't get a topwater bite going that day. But anyway, this is a nice productive area right here. This would has potential certain times of the year for the bass to come in because you're looking at 6 to 2 foot of water, 2 foot up near the shore, and out towards this area is 4 to 6. Okay, and then same thing around this edge right here. And matter of fact, the second bass I caught, I believe, was in this cove right here. It was either this cove or this cove. Let me see here. Yeah, and this would have been my first bass. The one I showed you earlier was my second bass, and I caught a 14-incher right here. So anyway, I fished that area and moved around. And this road bed here, you can see the road bed. I got it marked. It runs on out. And over here where you see the tree line, I got marked tree line and creek intersection. Now, I did not go out this far, but there were 2 or 3 boats parked there pretty much all day long. And so I'm assuming they were either crappie or catfishermen here. So not saying this would be a bass area, but the boats sitting in one spot for 7, 8 hours, I'm going to say they were either crappie or catfish. So, but anyway, that's just there because some people like to fish crappie and catfish. So I thought I'd throw that in there though. So anyway, so you have the roadbed here, and you also have a tree line that runs along it, and it's a pretty good place to work because it's 6 and 7 feet here, and it runs up to the shallow roadbed. So this is a good ambush spot for bass. And same thing on the other side here. And then I worked on up into this cove here. Now this pond, the water was actually past this pond back this way, and right here there was just enough water. The lake was 94% full. I could have got my kayak through here. Might have had to do a little poling to get it over there, but I didn't feel like messing with it. But I did pull my nose of my kayak right here, and I cast around into here. And I didn't get any bites, and that's not saying there's not any fish there. There just wasn't at that time. So anyway, so that's a potential spot. And the lake's 94% full. If it gets up to 98, 99, this will be flooded here, and you'll be able to access that easier. And okay, so anyway, this shoreline, this moving this way is pretty much the same as the other one I showed you with the flooded timber, and it goes from 12 to 4 foot and up to 1 and 2 along the shore. And here you've got, I didn't mark this here, but this is like it's not a creek bed, but it's a higher point of elevation here. And so there's a runoff here, and in the rainy season you'll get like a little seasonal creek. Now all over all this area here, you got all this flooded timber, and this is 12 foot of water here, 12 to 16 foot of water. So there's a good cranking area here. And that is as far as I went. Okay, I'm sorry. Here's an old pond too, because I went back in my timeline, and before they filled the lake, and I'll bring this back here. There we go. You see, there's that pond right there, and you see the pond dam. And I forgot about that. I didn't get a chance to go fish it because I was busy in a tournament, and I don't know. I just missed that one. Now I did see. No, I take that back. I did come along here, but there were 2 boats fishing that area, and bass boats. And so when I came by, I didn't want to get too close. I didn't want to disrupt them or interrupt them. So I kind of came around this side right here, and I fished more of this area here. But I kept seeing boats come to this spot, come to this spot, come to this spot, and that's why, because there was a pond dam there. And you can see you got another little creek coming in this way. Now this is as far as I went north towards the dam. I didn't go any further than that. Now the actually the gentleman that won second place in the tournament, he came up this way, and I don't know exactly where he went. He went back further than uh, where I did. So I don't know how far up he went and what he went to do. So I really can't. I know there's more ponds up here and creek channels and stuff like that. You can see there's another old pond here, and they had these ponds. These ponds were stocked with fish before the lake flooded, and so. But anyway, an old pond dam's always a good place to fish. So, and I'm pretty sure that the gentleman Michael Cates that came in second in our tournament, I'm sure he was up here fishing that area. I didn't go that far because I was in a pedal kayak and he had a motor, and I'm an old man, so he's an older gentleman too, but I think I got a couple of years on him. So anyway, so I fished that area, and uh, I'd only caught one bass, and I caught a big old giant drum. So I worked up to about right here, and I said, all right, well, I'm gonna head back. So I came back and I kind of cruised offshore a little bit and scoped out and didn't really see anything. And then when I got back to this area, I remember the creek beds and the intersection, all that, and I fished that, and I caught my biggest fish of the day right here. It was 19 inches. So uh, that, and there were several of us fishing here, and there were a few fish caught here in this area right here. Now, after I worked this area pretty good, I decided to move the towards the south, and the problem is, and I should have looked on my map and made better notes. I didn't have these two where it says big flats. I did not have those on there, so I wasn't for sure of the area. So I came down that way, and everything here. I mean, this is just stretching way out here. It's flat. It is just it's like 4 foot all the way, and I'll take the timeline back so maybe you can see here. There we go. Okay, you see this? This is what I'm talking about, big flats. And I came out here. Now there was a pond here and here and here that I wished I had a marked, because I came out to fish, and I do believe I hit this area right here, but I wasn't aware of that pond. There's still this a little bit of a hump here along this edge here before it drops off, and there was a little bit of timber here, but this whole area was just 4 feet deep. And I missed these ponds here. I didn't have them marked because I wasn't planning on going that way, and I actually did to scope it out. But this area was very, very unproductive to me. But these two tanks here and this tank here, and I did fish this area a little bit, but right here is where I should have concentrated a little bit more. So uh, that's on me. I didn't mark it because I wasn't planning on going that way. And then you have an old road here, and there was a tree line. You can see the tree line still, and I believe I was fishing more this area right here. I didn't make it over to the pond, and I did not go out as. Oh, I'm sorry. I did come out and fish this hump. Now the problem I had with this area right here is it wasn't a good place for bass fishing right then. Maybe the pond dam would have, but let me get my timeline going here so you can see correctly, see better. It's a new lake, so Google's pictures aren't the best in the world. So, uh, this is Google Earth. But I did fish this here, and I caught, oh my gosh, I caught a fish here, and I don't remember what it was. It may have been a perch, or no, it was a crappie. It was a crappie here. And I don't know why it was here, but he was here, so he hit my crankbait. But the problem with this big flat area here is this area right here. This is all underwater, back to almost to this road right here. But this is just a big flat area. There's nothing there. It's 4 to 6 feet of water with no structure, nothing. It's just flat. So I wasted my time here before I headed back and worked this area again. By that time, the wind pulled up. So, but anyway, this is the section of the lake that I covered with in my kayak during a tournament. Let's see if I can get this picture to clear up here. Google Earth's not really wanting to cooperate that well. I don't know why. It's got. I guess they haven't done updating. Hopefully there'll be a new image out by the end of summer. So, but anyway, so this is like Bodark, and this is the areas that I covered right through here. And I went up to about, I'm sorry, I went up to this cove right here. So I covered this area right here. Now I have to say that this lake has potential to be a very productive bass lake, and there is some nice ones. In our tournament, the winner had 94 inches, and matter of fact, the top five were all over 85 inches in for five bass. And the big bass was 20, a little over 22 inches, and there were several 20s and 21s caught. So it's a young lake, but it's not bad. Shows a lot of potential, a lot of cover, a lot of good fishing spots. They stocked it right, and I expect Bodark Lake in the next probably 2 years, maybe 3 years, once these fish have a time to grow and TPW keeps stocking it. I say Lake Bodark is going to be a good lake here, and I'm looking forward to fishing it again and doing another area. And I had really wanted to come down to the south end where the river comes in, but we've had so much rain lately that I was worried that the water would be muddied here from this creek here and this river here. And we've had lots of rain, and I was just expecting it to be muddy, and I don't do well in muddy water. And there were a lot of people that fished this area, but our winners came from back up this way. So, anyway, hey, this is Lake Bodark. I hope everybody enjoys this, and I'm breaking these lakes down in little kayak sections. Those of you with bass boats can cover a lot more territory than I can. But anyway, there's a whole lot of us kayak bass fishermen, and I can micro detail the areas that I fished, and I'll bring you Google Earth and firsthand fishing experience videos here for everybody. So, alrighty. So anyway, hey, Stretch Line Bait and Tackle, Old Man of Kayak, gonna sign out. I'm gonna remind everybody, hey, always wear your PFD, stay safe, pick up your trash, pick up some other people's trash if you see it, and then yak all that trash out. Everybody have a great day.